Hey there, Mount Our First Christian Church followers. Welcome to our program here called On the Shelf. This is just a regular recurring series that we are doing to highlight, emphasize various titles we have here at our church library. You can find these. This is the library here in the fellowship hall at First Christian Church in Mount Ayr, Iowa, 201 West Monroe, that are free for you to come and look at, check out, and to sit down and read if you would like, or take home with you either way. This is part of our effort to just increase the awareness of who God is, what He has done in this world. And so one of our projects to increase that is putting good resources in people's hands. And so we've emphasized various sections of our library, but for this episode today, there is this section here of just some standard Christian living books, not specific systematic theologies, not our Bibles, not biography, but just the practical Christian life. And one title that I want to emphasize today, this one has been on the shelf here at the library for many years before I got here, but is one that I certainly kept when we went through what we had. This book is called The Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Dietrich Bonhoeffer was a Lutheran German theologian during the rise of World War II and through World War II. There are many books out there by him. The Cost of Discipleship is one of his famous ones. Another shorter one that is very good is called Life Together. But he also has letters from prison, because Bonhoeffer, during World War II and the rise of Hitler, he was aware of the problems that this was going to cause for the Lutheran Church. And so he had come to America to learn and to go to college, but returned to Germany to suffer and to help. His hope was the Lutheran Church, his church, through the rise of the Nazi regime. And he ended up imprisoned in a Nazi internment camp, in a Nazi prison camp, and in fact died under the hands of the Nazis just a few weeks before Hitler himself was killed and the war was over. So his testimony is incredible, but this is his book, The Cost of Discipleship, of which he knew much about. And I have read this book many times. It is just a very challenging book to read. Personally, just the call out of a sort of worldly Christianity into what does it look like to really be a disciple of Jesus Christ. One of my favorite sections is in the chapter on discipleship and the cross. Let me read this section for you here. It says, "The cross is laid on every Christian. The first Christ suffering, which every man must experience, is the call to abandon the attachments of this world. It is that dying of the old man, which is the result of his encounter with Christ. As we embark upon discipleship, we surrender ourselves to Christ in union with his death. We give over our lives to death. Thus it begins. The cross is not the terrible end to an otherwise God-fearing and happy life, but it meets us at the beginning of our communion with Christ. When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. It may be a death like that of the first disciples, who had to leave home and work to follow him. Or it may be a death like Luther's, who had to leave the monastery and go out into the world. But it is the same death every time. Death in Jesus Christ, the death of the old man at his call. Jesus' summons to the rich young man was calling him to die, because only the man who is dead to his own will can follow Christ. In fact, every command of Jesus is a call to die with all our affections and lusts. But we do not want to die, and therefore Jesus Christ and his call are necessarily our death as well as our life. Just a short section there from this book, The Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Highly recommended here on the shelf for you for your reading. Hope you can find a time to check out some of our books. And until next time, happy reading.